Yo, what is up, guys? It's Travis, aka Travesty. Today, I just wanted to come at you guys with an updated crystal preset. Not a guide, but more of like a theoretical test, given some new information. What that new information was essentially that this total AP versus total DR. If your AP does not is not greater than your opponent's DR, human damage is no longer factored. And because of that, hybrid builds such as this build right here become way less way less viable running a centaur system build, because your total AP drops tremendously, where you kind of want to run builds that have more AP, such as if you're going to run Evasion, run something like this or something like this. Of course, if you're fighting a heavy evasion targets, you can run 3 accuracy accessories, but this total AP is very low. If I were to fight somebody of my same gear, my AP wouldn't break their DR, and then human damage would not be factored in. So with that in mind, here are some crystal builds that I've been playing around with, given that change. So starting from the top here, this is like my main set that I like to run. Still running 2 Genharfia, still running 2 Bitterness. Now, the Humes is a pretty debatable set. Running 4 of these for tankiness. And now you won't see me running Red Battlefield Viper. You're going to see me running Corrupteds, because the special attack evasion being removed makes the Corrupteds do a lot more damage. This also gives you 4 AP. This gives you 5 AP and some HP. Again, if you don't break the AP bracket, you won't be able to have your human damage factored in. And that's why, instead of a Red Battlefield Viper, I'm opting for the knockdown here for some HP and AP. When it comes to my evasion damage build, I'm going to be running the Ultimate Macalods, because this will give me 6 AP per crystal, or about 6 AP per crystal, 11 AP total, 22 AP. This is going to be good so that my AP is strong enough to break through somebody of my same DR. So I have 676 AP. This would break my DR of somebody of my same build. Some higher builds, like some 1 cadre builds, they're going to be all the way up in the 750 to 780 DR brackets, and that would require me to run DR to break through their require me to run Nuvert to break through their DR. And so even this build, Evasion doesn't really have that much AP in it. I think the most AP I can get out of Evasion build would require me to run offensive artifacts, and even then, this is about 700, give or take some add-ons, minus CP down, etc. Maybe you can break through somebody who has a cadre level DR, but it's still kind of a toss-up. It's still kind of a toss-up in that kind of case. Ava Tank, this build is kind of a meme build. You probably only want to run it with something like a full DP set, and even with the full DP set, you're looking at 700 DR. You might want to run a cadre here instead, because Evasion, and given the new information on the DR breakpoint, I think DR is a little bit stronger than what Evasion is now, so that's just something to keep in mind. So yeah, this is the tank build for Evasion. Here's the hybrid build, and this is something I want to play around with. I only run 1 Genharfia in this build, and essentially this is the build I would run. I would essentially run something more like this, where I do have some DR, I do have some evasion, and yeah, I think this would be like interesting to see. I think the disto kind of negates the usefulness of this build. So I'd be running double Devo. There we go. This is like the hybrid build that I'm thinking about trying out. I still have okay AP, 660 AP. So if I'm fighting somebody who has the same gear as me, we're not damaging each other because I can't break through his DR. But yeah, you'll see that I have Corrupteds, I have Rebelliouses, and I have one Jin Harfia, and then I have these Jin Ignore Knockdown that give 3 AP. Alternatively, instead of running the Jin Ignore Knockdown, you could run like red Battlefield Power Crystals. So if I wanted a little bit more AP to break through, these Power Crystals are something I'd recommend because they give 5 AP and then 3 human damage. Again, that 3 human damage is not even factored in unless you break through the DR breakpoint. So then that gives me a little bit more AP. If I wanted to break through DR, that's when we get to my anti-DR build. So this is a build that I would run if I'm fighting a DR player. You'll see I got rid of the 4 Hoom set, only running 2 Hoom. We're running only 1 Jin Harfia. So this is going to sacrifice a little bit of a tankiness so that you can hopefully break through their DR breakpoint. Again, most heavy DR builds are going to be like 700 to 800 DR, like usually around 750. So you won't see that much human damage in this build. Again, it's just building straight up AP to hopefully break through that build, and that's why you have the 4 max set here. My anti-evasion build, again, you'll see Corrupteds across the board now that special attack evasion has been removed. That means that 22% so critical hit damage is going to be pretty big. When it comes to this build, only run 1 Jin Harfia. I think 4 Hoom set might be a little much if I'm fighting another evasion player. So going forward, let's say I wanted a little bit more damage. Maybe if I'm fighting another evasion player, instead of, having this tankiness, I can put some more AP in. And in the case of an evasion player, they usually have a good amount of DR as well. So I'd probably think, okay, probably powers. And if they're evasion, right, you don't have to worry about res because most evasion players are going to be running blur. So this would be potentially something I'd run against an evasion player. And most likely, one thing to note though is swapping accuracy now is way more efficient than swapping crystals in. You'll see I have 10,082 accuracy here, and if I just did the anti-DR build with 3 pen accuracy accessories, it should be a good amount of accuracy. AP becomes more important to break through. So this anti-evasion crystal build, lots to improve on. Potentially don't even have to run Jin Vipers. It's up to you. I think if you don't have pen accuracy accessories, you definitely can only get accuracy through Jin Vipers and your crystals. Now we're getting on to the DR set. So the DR set is going to be slightly different. So your DR, you can actually run res. So in this case, my DR damage build is again running ultimate max. And this is because you have to break through. You have to break through people's DR. So I have 700 AP here. I think the most common build you'll see me when I'm running DR is going to be something like this, where it's like 725. And this should be enough to break through a lot of people's DR. Maybe not everybody's. And the reason why human damage is pretty good is because in a DR build, you can actually break through the DR with your AP, and so the human damage will be counted. But again, I kind of wanted to account for just not having enough AP to break through the DR brackets, so that's why you won't see red Battlefield Vipers and the such. In my DR general build, this is going to be more of like semi-tanky, semi-not, and most likely in this build I'd be running DR artifacts. So I have like 700 DR-ish and then 700 AP. So I'll be breaking somebody who's running the same build as me, breaking their DR brackets. So for whom, for Mac, etc. DR tank, self-explanatory. If I was running this build, I wouldn't expect to do too much damage. And actually, these Jin max evasion or max HP, really not that strong anymore. So if I were to rebuild this set right here, I would run something like this, first off. And then instead of these max HP things, I would replace them with like some more tankiness. So if there's anything else that gives tankiness, I would just slot it in. So let me see here. Well, res is a thing in this build, but most likely, if I wanted more tanking, I guess this is the Jin Harf. The max HP is pretty good for your tankiness overall. Okay, so now we're gonna go to our anti-evasion build. This one just has 2 Jin Vipers in. So if you were to run this with the best in slot PvP set, you're gonna be like 900, almost 1,000 accuracy. If you need more accuracy, then you swap more accuracy accessories, and you have like a good amount of accuracy to power through most of the high evasion builds today, and then also enough AP to break through the evasion DR. So those are my main PvP sets. The PvE sets haven't changed too much. You have your back attack, you have your critical hit, and then your res. But other than that, pretty much you just no more Jin Vipers needed for PvE anymore since they changed accuracy. But yeah, that's just a run through, and again, I'll be changing it here and there. What I have right now is not final. Definitely not final, but given the new information on how AP and DR interact, I definitely think my old guides with Red Battlefield Viper and all that kind of stuff are kind of off now, given that revelation. And most of the time, you're not going to be running a hybrid build anymore because of how little AP you get in a hybrid build. You're going to probably always want to be above 309, and if you're below 309, like 305 and below, your capability to do damage is just way lower. So just something to think about. Anyways, this has been Travis, aka Travesty, and I hope this video helps you out with your crystal builds. Again, feel free to drop a comment on what builds you like to run, what you would change, etc.